Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L, and now let's talk some Gale Online episode. I think we're at episode 5. I'll correct it in the title if I get it wrong. But yeah, Gale, man, guys, let me tell ya, this was a pretty cool episode. Like, man, I was really surprised, just with the action and Len's overall competency here. Like, it was amazing. And you know, with the episode, it seems that we've finished a story arc. But just looking at it, I'm kind of curious as to where we're going from here. So before we get into like bigger talks here, what I really enjoyed about this episode was the mix of action, incredible moves from Len, and also the humor. The humor was on point here. I think there were a lot of really cool things that were popping up that I'm kind of like, whoa, what's going on? And I like how the episode ended. It was a very nice bow on all things that were going on. So going into this, you know, as I get into the rest of the episode, I look back to the M stuff, and you know, the M stuff just seems so stupid in comparison to the rest of the episode. Or not stupid, they just seem so inconsequential when you have like an episode that's just showing a really cool character doing some really cool things and having some light moments thrown about there. So one of the things that I find really interesting about this first story arc is that when you read the premise, you know, like this girl is going to be competing in the squad jam. And I believe this was the full squad jam. I don't recall if this was the preliminary round, but I think this was the full squad jam. Anyway, you have this little girl competing here. Or you have this, sorry, I shouldn't call her little girl. You have our main character competing here, our fully mature main character. And usually with this kind of thing, you would imagine that this would be the final, like, arc of the season, right? Like if you were told, hey, this girl is going to be competing in this super hardcore tournament versus a lot of other people, and then, you know, but then you're told, no, this is just going to happen by the halfway mark of the episode and it'll be done, I would be kind of surprised, because this is the kind of thing that a season would culminate on. But instead, for Gale, it looks like this is the beginning. This is the premise as to this is how things start. And you know, when you look at the season, well, where are we going? Well, I guess we have the mystery of Pito and Hui and M. Just who are they and why is M so scared of her? That is like our current big mystery. And also maybe the P-chan thing, but you know, we'll talk about that in a second. Overall, I'm so far really enjoying Gale. I want Gale to stay self-contained, because look, man, like Len is carrying the episode in between like funny little moments and cool action shots. She is carrying this strong. She is carrying it through. On the note of Len, and just continuing to talk a little bit more about her characterization and her character development at the end, it never occurred to me that a real Len would have cut her hair to mimic her avatar. That was really interesting, and I'm overall very happy that the girl is a bit more secure with herself. Although, you know, that the rest of that scene had the context of the little girls talking to her, and you know, at first this was also really cool, because as I was watching this, I thought, oh, okay, well, maybe this is just a coincidence. What are the odds that the person that she competed against would be this little girl that's right in front of her? And it was endearing in and of itself, as you see the girl working up the courage to talk to Len's human form or real self. But I like that they played it through. The girl walks away and then she comes back and she's like, ah, yes, you know, she gives the sign that, hey, I know who you are. That was a cool little thing. They played with it a little bit. They played with your expectations a little bit. But I really enjoyed that. I thought that was lovely. I liked how they accentuated it with P-chan's keychain. Because, you know, they have the keychain there. That's like the indicator this is Len. And then they bring it back to like bring in the context of Gale. I really like how the scene works out. I think the scene's done very nicely. Very simple little thing, but it's just the story beats really like resonate on that one. Anyway, with those little girls and Len meeting in real life, it's funny because you consider like, what are the odds that they would meet like this in real life, and then you consider that the first SAO only 10,000 sales worldwide. When you consider that, it makes total sense that Gale has a very small core audience, and most likely that core audience is like centered or yeah, centered in a metropolitan area that can most likely support high-speed internet. You know, that's just a small joke. It's just an aside. It's just a funny little thing. Like, realistically, there is no reason to expect that the person that you walk by every day is the person who is shooting at you in a video game, right? Unless you're on friends list or something. I just find it funny, but we all know this is just narrative. Narrative requires it to happen. The world is a small place when it's convenient for the narrative, so it's not that much of a big deal. Anyway, other things in the actual episode, like there's no point hyping up the competency here other than to point out, like, holy shit, Len is super competent, she is super scary, she is super able. How much time has she spent practicing in this game? Because look, mind you, while it seems that she doesn't have a good grip on strategy, she seems to have a pretty good grip on maneuvering within the game itself. So that's pretty amazing. I love that. That's really cool. No wonder Peto wants to go after her. Like, man, what a target. Holy, like the moment when the poor girl like jumps over and like she just shoots straight down a line, it's like, Jesus Christ, man, like what the heck? How? It was amazing. I was totally into it. It was really cool. There's still a few things that I find a little bit strange in the actual episode, and it's coming back to the bullet lines, because like in this one you see that Lens is aiming at the person, and then you have like the lines that are up in the sky, but we know that the lines themselves move around, and it continues to be one of those things. I haven't read the comments from last week's video. I should, but it's funny. One of the new little like gameplay and story segregation things that I'm seeing here now this week, though, is like I noticed it last week, but it's funny how damaged Len looks like, or you know, she looks like when she's getting hurt, and it's funny how realistically. Well, actually, I'm first gonna preface this. I don't recall if the VR equipment stimulates or simulates nervous input or nervous sensory information. I believe it does, because I remember back to SAO, like I think they made some kind of comments about feedback. But okay, I'm gonna assume there's feedback, but still, if the game is hurting someone to the point that their voice gets ragged after getting hit, it's interesting technology, and I wonder what ethics board would have let that thing pass through. I think there's always this idea of when you have like these hardcore video games, or you have these virtual reality fictions, people talk about how, yeah, like you can now get these tactile feedback suits that make you feel more like you're in the game. But at the same time, I wonder to what degree would a government be okay signing off on equipment that is designed to hurt your population in regards, or as to simulate a danger in a video game. Just because I feel there's a lot of potential medical problems that would come with someone getting the simulation of a bullet piercing their lung, or like some kind of equivalent thing. I think that's an area that lawmakers haven't had to think about because it hasn't occurred yet. But then you like look back to like our current level of VR, and like our current level of VR is such that if you have enough sensory information coming in on that VR headset, some people are just predisposed to be incompatible with it. Like I know there's this one little car game, and you get into this thing, you have like a tactile feedback, or you have feedback coming out of your like the steering wheel as you're playing this video game, and because your senses are picking up the sense that you are traveling at high speeds, but your body isn't feeling the high speeds acting on it, your body gets disoriented and you start getting nauseous. These are just like the beginning issues of VR and human experience. So realistically, like getting something that has tactile feedback, or something that mimics some feedback onto your body, I think that would resolve some of the incompatibility issues that people are encountering now with current VR experiences. But at the same time, like, do you want a product that's designed in some way to injure the user, or to make the user uncomfortable, like on a physical level? Like some people take products that, or will buy services that can damage you mentally, but there is a bigger association to physical harm being more bad for a person as compared to mental harm, because physical harm is so much more understandable, because it's so much more easy to see. People tend to like take that as the bigger evil, but it's still like I'm interested to see where in our world we go with VR legislation, or if we ever have a conversation about like, hey, should we really be promoting a device that will give you a pain response to simulate you just got shot in the chest? Because like as we go in this episode, Len was asking why didn't it hurt her when she was grabbing the gun. And so like if you just think about that, if you grab the gun when it's shooting, you're gonna get a burn, right? That would be the realistic what would really happen. And Len's counting on there to be some kind of pain, and she's counting on the pain to be significant enough such that someone would let go. I don't think a simple prick would be something someone counts on to letting go, but this is also like one of those questions where you have to ask how much is the immersion coming into play here? Because when you go back to like Len's voice getting weaker, that could just be how immersive the experience is, such that, you know, you feel like you need to like mimic it. But with the holding the gun, like that was a scene of, I guess, expecting a certain amount of pain and then being shocked when that pain wasn't enough to move the person away. I found that really interesting. So that's the interesting topic I've thought about with this week's episode. I just wonder, with our current world's development, where are we going when we're starting to mimic pain, or we're starting to simulate pain that it doesn't actually exist? Because it would be phantom pain technically, because, well, it's not phantom pain if you're getting it from a device, but it's interesting. The last little bit is to talk about P-chan. P-chan starts talking to Len, and at that point I wasn't sure if that was actually just for funnies or if that's actually legitimate serious. Like, you could think it's serious because P-chan comes in at the last minute to tell her, hey Len, use me. But at the same time, it's like, why? Why did that happen? Is it a special AI? We know that Sword Art has a habit of making special AIs that can do a lot of really cool things. Like we had, I assume her name was Yui from the main series. So if I consider that, like P-chan being a hardcore AI that just woke up for Len because she satisfied some special condition, makes total sense within the context of the Sword Art universe. But it's both very hilarious and very weird, because I'm not sure if that was just Len breaking down or if that's actually legit. But that said, Len's reaction to it was hilarious, and I would love to see more. The last little thing regarding P-chan is at the end, Len uses P-chan to block the shots, and that was cool and all. But the thing that I questioned is the line right after that. Now, like, thing is, this kind of line, it happens in anime all the time. Not a big issue. It's a stupid line in general. Because the moment that she uses her gun as a shield, she does that by her own volition. She tells the person, how dare you shoot P-chan. Listen, that's stupid, okay? Like, you did that. You made the deal. You shook hands when you decided to put your gun up and block the bullets with it. Look, I just find it funny. It's just like, it's a line for the drama, but it's a stupid line. Because I just think about it, it's like, Len, like, she was gonna like, if you don't want your gun to be shot, don't put it right in front of the bullet that's about to shoot it. You know, it's a stupid line. It's okay if the girl's emotional, because people do stupid things when they're emotional, but there's no logic in that line. I just find it stupid. But that's fine. It's just, that's anime. That's narrative. That's excitement. In the grand context of a narrative, it doesn't matter. In the context of that's a stupid line, it's a really stupid line. Anyway, guys, I'm done. It's a very cool episode of Gale. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Thanks for watching. Till next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.